initial inspiration with Rossellini's work and the film which we have seen now on the screen. So how was it? What was the first inspiration? Doing a remake or recontextualizing your own relationship?
This film is part of a collection I started in 2002 with Naomi Kawase, and it's called Exercises in Admiration, as told in the film. So I call them EA1, EA2, EA3. This one is EA4. So I know that a certain number of works can be film or plays or books or paintings or music are in my program of doing someday an EA about them. And I just waited for the good occasion. The memory of the film is in my mind since, as I told, I'm a teenager, I would say, or even a boy. And another time, you know, this is a very poor cinema. So I had to wait for the good conditions. And I had the chance to meet Simon Versnel as a very, very close friend and also as a great actor. So I thought it was a possibility for me to start doing that crazy thing with him. And also the help of this magnificent French Cultural Center in Naples that still exists. As it says also in the film, it's something that is more or less disappearing. Maybe as is disappearing a certain idea of European culture, as I'm saying in the film too. And all the conditions were together. So with my producer that left today, but that was with me in Berlin, as he did for Jaurès, that I showed 3 years ago here too, he said, but let's go. We just need some money for the plane, cameras. I have friends that came with, and we started doing that. And afterward, we started. I had already done the work of the dialogues and translate them and all that. So we did it, and strangely, we had only 1 week work in Naples because Simon is a very famous theater actor, so he had to go back to his things. And I didn't really imagine we could do so many scenes of the films. I thought, in my mind, it was three scenes. The car when we arrived, the taxi that is in the film, Rossellini's film, the Bentley, because it's not a Rolls Royce, it's a Bentley. I made a mistake. And the terrace scene, and the moment is Alex is coming back from Capri of Procida, and I'm waiting for him in the dark. So, but there was so help of many people. We met a young actress that wanted to do this prostitute scene. So we started to do almost the whole film. And the only problem that we had to imagine was how to end this crazy project, and we improvised also this idea, but always by chance, because there was this huge screen in the flat you see in the film. I didn't know it was there, so I just saw it was going up, so let's do that and project Rossellini's film on us. So, but afterward, editing, colorizing, we had a long work on that film, and it was really a big pleasure to make an object very, very strange, very complex, as you say, with different layers.
If there are questions, we have microphones on both sides of the room, so just raise your hand and we get you a microphone. Okay, up there.
Thank you very much for this movie. I really loved it, and I also love Viaggio in Italia, so it was really wonderful to see. And it's always bad to ask about things that are not there, but I still want to do it. I'm sorry for it. For me, the most important thing in Viaggio is the presence of Bergman, right? You see her face, you see this expressionless, wandering through the city. So for me, it's always seeing this mysterious character, and I didn't see a lot of your approaching her personage, you know, in this film. So I was wondering whether this is not so important for you in the Rossellini film, or whether why you didn't try to get closer to this enigmatic big person of that Bergman is always.
Because, as you may imagine, already it was kind of a very Queenie project for me to make Ingrid Bergman, but I didn't want to make any copy of that. It was almost impossible. I think that in the film, I really choose. It was always a little bit by chance, but on my computer you have this face coming back. The character you're talking about, she's very present in the film, but in between the sequences. And maybe it's more strong when I realized that there was something between her and my mother. That is definitely sure, you know, even like magnified probably my mother at that time. But there was something, and I remember, I tell it in the film, but then that when I saw that film on TV, on the Ciné Club, you know, in France, there were kind of tensions between my father and my mother, and I'm sure there is something to do with that film. And but I couldn't do it as an actor. I'm not an actor at all, and I didn't want. But if you look precisely I really inspired myself of a way of walking in the museum, or in the when we when they are in Pompeii, I work exactly the same way, you know. But I didn't want to make any face comparison with her. It was impossible. So it's just her, I would say, a virtual presence in the computer that is more. And on another way, maybe Simon has really something to do with George Sanders. I mean, physically, this was more obvious, but he's a man. So it was I definitely unconsciously I had this fantasy of offering me the opportunity of being Ingrid Bergman. But the important thing also for me in that film is to show that even if you want to make a remake, actual present remake of the film, it is impossible anyway, because the world is not the same, the couple is not the same, the idea we have of love and Festfußball is not the same, tourism is not the same, everything. So it was also my point to show that even if all you do kind of what I would say a kind of obsessionist copy of the film, and I would have dressed like in the 50s, and so it was different. And it's also a way for me to question the idea of what is making a film today with this found footage, the presence of the image on the internet. You just make Google and you have a Voyage to Italy full screen and full film. It's so there is something that for me it was, you know, seeing that film at night on TV. It was a late program, so I had to ask my parents if I can go to bed later. And now it's just, you name it, you have it. So it's a trend. But I really tried to choose images where the face of Ingrid Bergman. There is even a shot that may interest you where there is the face of Ingrid Bergman in the museum and my reflect on and they mix together. It's perhaps the only image I choose in the way you're talking. But in fact, yes, I didn't try to make a appropriation of her actress aura. That is completely impossible, I guess. Or it would be comic.
Okay, more questions? Think of that.
It's interesting to see the scenes of how Naples is today, and I think what of a Viaggio in Italia today would be interesting is always